President Biden authorized sweeping new sanctions against Russia on Thursday designed to punish the Kremlin for cyber hacking and interfering in the 2020 election. The sanctions target more than 30 companies and individuals. The U.S. is also expelling Russian diplomats and intelligence officials. CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang reports from the White House.
When Russia seeks to violate the interests of the United States, we will respond.
Tonight, President Biden is drawing a line in the sand, imposing strict new sanctions on dozens of Russian companies and individuals, and expelling 10 Russian diplomats who the White House says are spies. The penalties are in response to Moscow's interference in the 2020 presidential election and for carrying out the SolarWinds cyber hack that accessed sensitive data, including intelligence and nuclear secrets from U.S. government agencies and 18,000 major U.S. companies, including Microsoft, in what may be the most widespread and sophisticated hack in history.
We knew that this was coming in one form or another. It was just a matter of time. And on Friday, Russia very demonstratively retaliated against those punitive measures that Washington announced against Moscow earlier this week. Perhaps the most interesting part is that 8 top-level Washington officials have been banned from entering Russian territory. And when I say top level, I mean highlight reel.
Big names, aren't they?
We're talking the head of the FBI, the director of national intelligence, the secretary of Homeland Security too, i.e. people who are powerful decision makers in Washington. Also in that list, Susan Rice and John Bolton, historically 2 politicians who are
pretty
known
hawkish, weren't
for
they?
their hawkish anti-Russian rhetoric.
This attack on our country by the Biden administration cannot go unanswered. It seems that Washington does not want to accept the fact that in the new geopolitical realities there is no place for unilateral dictatorship, and the broken scenarios of containing Moscow, which the US short-sightedly continues to deploy, only risk further degrading Russia-US relations.
Moscow has lashed out at the EU's latest sanctions on Iran, saying that the decision to impose them is worse than a crime.
If the EU lacks coordination, if the left hand has no idea what the right hand is doing, that's unfortunate. But if the decision was reached consciously, amid the ongoing negotiations in Vienna to save the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, then this is a mistake that is worse than a crime.
Donald Trump, who once did everything to ruin the landmark Iran nuclear deal or the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, is gone. America's back with its diplomacy, as they're putting it, and the negotiators are back in Vienna to try and correct the mistakes of the past few years. So it looks like all the ingredients are there to fix the agreement. But then all of a sudden comes extra trouble from the European Union. For the first time since 2013, the bloc decides to sanction a group of senior Iranian officials for their role in a crackdown on a protest that happened 2 years ago. And Iran immediately fights back by cutting all talks with the European Union on human rights, and also by halting cooperation in dealing with such issues as terrorism, drugs, and refugees.
Live from the world headquarters of RT America in our nation's capital, this is the news with Rick Sanchez.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Sanchez, and I want to welcome all of you who are watching from all over the world, including those of you who are watching on your phones on the Portable TV app. There are 2, count them, 2 big pieces of news that are happening as we speak. Now, why in the world the U.S. media in general is ignoring these stories, it's kind of tough to reconcile. This weekend, China made it official. It is moving forward, indeed, with a $400 billion deal with Iran. What's the deal? Well, it goes something like this. China will pump $400 billion into the flailing Iranian economy, And for the next 25 years, Iran will pump a steady stream of oil into the Chinese economy. That's the deal. Why is China doing a deal with Iran? Because it is making good, it says, on its promise to Iran based on the nuclear agreement both countries signed back in 2015. You remember that? Yeah, it's the same deal that the United States backed out of. President Biden now says he wants a new deal with Iran, but China is telling Mr. Biden, no, you can't sign a treaty and then back out and start over again. You have to honor your commitment, sir. So even if you won't, we will. That's China's talking point. That's their perspective for why they're doing this, right? So the United States' perspective seems to be that China is becoming obstinate and dangerous and may need to be put in its place. So here's what the United States is going to be doing. The U.S. is announcing war games. Here's some of the video or some of the pictures or images of these said war games that the United States has from time to time. It'll carry out these war games this summer to try and prepare for the eventuality of a war with China, while also having to fight, possibly at the same time, other countries around the world, including Russia. The Pentagon says these war games or military exercises are being designed to equip the U.S. military's top leaders on how to react to a fictional global crisis erupting on multiple fronts and how to move all the military pieces around, like the bombers and the aircraft carriers. But you know, there's something else here that at least I noted this as I was doing my research on this assignment, that there's something else in this report that kind of caught my eye as we look at these images of these war games. And maybe it's going to raise questions for you as well. The Pentagon also notes that these military exercises you see behind me are going to be used to set the future military budget of the United States. Ask yourself this question. Do you think when all is said and done after these war games, they will ask for less? Maybe, in fact, a better question is, have they ever asked for less?